All right, strap yourselves in because today we're diving headfirst into a topic that's captivated imaginations for decades, UAPs. But hold on, before you jump to any conclusions, we're not just skimming the surface here.
Oh, absolutely not. We're going way deeper.
This deep dive is about peeling back the layers, getting into how the U.S. government handles its most classified intel, the kind of tech that seems like it bends reality, and what it all means for, well, our understanding of everything.
And the sources you've brought to the table this time, let's just say they paint a fascinating, if not a little unsettling, picture.
You can say that again. And it all starts with a concept that sounds ripped straight from a spy novel. Compartmentalization. You know those scenes in movies where agents huddle in dimly lit rooms whispering secrets?
Right, shadowy figures and all that. But the reality is even more complex, especially when we're talking about the labyrinthine world of U.S. intelligence agencies.
Talk about a labyrinth. We're dealing with giants like the Department of Energy, the Department of Defense, each a massive entity with its own web of departments, programs, and a deeply, deeply ingrained culture of secrecy.
Like a jigsaw puzzle. But imagine each person holding a piece can only see a tiny fraction of the whole image. That's compartmentalization in action.
It's wild. And from what these sources suggest, it's not just about keeping things under wraps from, say, foreign adversaries. It's about controlling the flow of information within the government itself. Imagine working side by side with someone on a top-secret project and having absolutely zero clue what they're actually doing.
That's the reality in some of these agencies, and it's not without consequences. Our sources highlight cases where this lack of transparency has meant duplicated efforts, wasted resources, even agencies working against each other because they don't have the full picture.
It's mind-boggling. You'd think having top-secret clearance would be like having an all-access pass,
Yeah.
right? See everything, know everything.
Not even close. In reality, you need something called need-to-know access. It's like you have a library card, but it only lets you into certain sections.
So you could be the most cleared individual in the U.S. government, but still be totally oblivious to entire UAP programs happening right under your nose.
Precisely. And that begs the question, what if they are reverse engineering groundbreaking tech from recovered UAPs, but it's locked away in these information silos? We could be talking about hindered progress, wasted potential, even putting us behind on a global scale.
Which leads us to something that's been bugging me. Why are we suddenly seeing people like David Grush, these whistleblowers, stepping forward? And why is Congress, after decades of silence, turning the spotlight on this issue now? It feels like something shifted, wouldn't you say?
Something definitely has. It's like these carefully guarded secrets are starting to, well, leak out. And that's a story for the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've seen how good the U.S. government can be at keeping secrets, sometimes even from itself. But with this UAP thing, it feels like those walls are closing in. We've got whistleblowers like David Grush making waves, Congress starting to push back against the secrecy. It makes you wonder, why now? What's changed?
Well, what strikes me is the change in tone, especially from some key players in Congress. We're not talking vague inquiries anymore. Senators, people like Chuck Schumer, Mike Rounds, they're using very specific language now, dropping hints about exotic tech, stuff that's been recovered, even suggesting the U.S. could be facing a technology surprise from, rivals like China.
Yeah, it's like they're choosing their words very carefully, right? And there's this one line in the sources that really jumped out at me. It talks about historical exotic technology antecedents being given to private companies, for research and development. What do you make of that?
That little detail is huge. It implies the U.S. government has been trying to reverse engineer this UAP tech maybe for decades, and they've even brought in private contractors to help. We're talking about companies like Lockheed Martin. Imagine the kind of research they've been doing.
It's like all those advancements we've seen in aerospace, materials science, could some of that be tied back to this secret UAP research? I mean, it sounds like pure science fiction, but the fact that it's being discussed in congressional hearings makes it all feel very real.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The timing of all this, combined with the language being used, it hints at a possible motive behind this sudden transparency from the government.
Okay, now you've got me intrigued. You think there's more to this than meets the eye?
Think about it. China's been making big moves in areas like hypersonic missiles, directed energy weapons. What if they've also had breakthroughs based on, shall we say, inspiration from UAP tech?
You're talking about a technological arms race.
Exactly. By acknowledging these programs and the threat they could pose, the U.S. government might be trying to drum up support. More funding, more research, to stay ahead of the game. It could be a strategic move to maintain that technological edge.
So we're not just talking about satisfying our curiosity about what's out there. This is about national security, global power, the future of warfare. It's a lot to take in.
It is, and it goes even deeper than that. Because if even a fraction of what these whistleblowers and lawmakers are suggesting is true, we're not just talking about advanced technology. We're talking about a fundamental shift in our understanding of reality itself.
And that's where things start to get really mind-bending, right? Because
Yeah.
we're talking about tech that can warp space-time, defy the laws of physics as we know them.
Hmm.
It kind of throws everything we thought we knew out the window.
Precisely. And that's something we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
All right, so we've gone deep down this rabbit hole, haven't we? Government secrets, the potential for a global tech race, and all because of, well, things we can barely get our heads around. But buckle up, because now it's time to go full-on sci-fi. We need to talk about what UAP tech could mean for our understanding of physics, maybe even consciousness itself.
This is where things get really interesting, where the implications of UAPs go way beyond just, national security and into something truly profound. The things people are reporting: instantaneous acceleration, defying gravity, even warping space-time. This isn't just tinkering with our current physics. It challenges the very foundation of how we understand the universe.
It's like we've been playing checkers this whole time, and suddenly someone walks in with a quantum chessboard, pieces moving in ways we can't even comprehend.
I like that analogy. Our current understanding is built on two incredibly successful theories, right? The Standard Model, which governs those tiny particles, and general relativity, explaining gravity as a curvature of space-time. But here's the thing. As brilliant as they are, these two theories are fundamentally incompatible at their core, like trying to jam two puzzle pieces from different puzzles together.
So are you saying these UAPs might be tapping into some kind of unified theory of physics that we haven't even dreamed up yet? A theory that can bring these seemingly impossible ideas together?
It's a possibility that a lot of physicists are considering very seriously. Because if these craft are real, if they're pulling off these maneuvers, it suggests there are deeper principles at play. Maybe even new forces, new dimensions we're clueless about.
And this is where my brain starts to short circuit a little. The sources you've shared mention some really out there concepts. Like, what if consciousness itself isn't just our brains? What if it's somehow fundamental to reality itself? They even toy with the idea that this could be how you manipulate reality in ways we can't even fathom.
It's a truly mind-boggling concept, pushing us to the very edge of what we know about, well, everything. If consciousness isn't just a byproduct of our brains, if it's woven into reality itself, think of the possibilities. Could advanced intelligences, whether they're extraterrestrial or even artificial, could they be manipulating reality with their consciousness in ways that seem like magic to us?
It makes you think about AI in a whole new light. I mean,
Yeah.
what if we're trying to build something without even understanding the building blocks of what makes it tick? Are we even aiming for the right goal?
It's a question that needs way more exploration. The potential of AI is huge, but so are the risks, especially if we're missing a fundamental piece of the puzzle.
So where does that leave us? Possible government cover-ups? A potential global tech race? Mind-bending physics? A philosophical crisis? And maybe even a glimpse into the nature of consciousness itself. It's a lot to digest.
It really is. I think the key takeaway here is the importance of really digging into this, being open-minded, and being willing to challenge what we think we know. This isn't just about satisfying our curiosity. It's about national security, our place in the universe, understanding what it means to be human.
You know, even if we never find absolute proof of aliens, even if some of these UAP sightings have more down-to-earth explanations, the fact that we're even asking these questions forces us to confront some of the biggest mysteries out there. The nature of reality, the potential of consciousness, it's humbling and exhilarating at the same time.
Absolutely. And that sense of wonder, of facing the unknown, that's what pushes us to explore, to question, to search for answers. Who knows what we'll find on this journey?
That's a fantastic note to end on. It's not about having all the answers, but about being brave enough to ask the big questions and see where they lead. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into UAPs, exotic technology, and the mysteries of consciousness. Until next time, keep looking up.